My sister-in-law showed up in a white dress at my wedding and whispered I was supposed to marry him first. My husband laughed and said, "She's just joking." But when I opened her diary that night, my blood ran cold. The next morning, she showed up screaming. I knew my wedding day wouldn't be perfect. Things go wrong. Cakes get delivered late, flowers wilt, someone forgets the rings. I was prepared for that. What I wasn't prepared for was Vanessa, my husband's sister, walking into my wedding wearing a white lace gown, looking like a second bride. Silence. You could hear a pin drop. People turned to stare. My bridesmaids exchanged nervous glances. Ryan, my soon-to-be husband, let out an awkward laugh. "She's just joking," he whispered to me. Joking. She walked up to me, her white train dragging behind her, her lips curling into a smug little smile. She leaned in so close I could smell her perfume. Then, she whispered, I was supposed to marry him first. My stomach twisted. I pulled back. She just smiled and walked away like nothing happened. Ryan's family acted like everything was fine. His mother didn't say a word. His dad avoided my eyes. I should have called off the wedding right there. But I didn't. This wasn't the first time Vanessa made me uncomfortable. When I first started dating Ryan, she hated me. I figured it was just normal overprotective sibling behavior, but it was more than that. She would always find ways to touch him. Not in an outright inappropriate way, but little things. Fixing his collar. Resting her hand on his knee when she sat next to him. Playing with his hair when he was distracted. I asked him about it once. He waved it off. She's just affectionate. No, this wasn't normal affection. She hated when we got serious. When we moved in together, she cried and refused to talk to him for weeks. When we got engaged, she threw a fit and left the family dinner early. And now? She was standing in my wedding in a white dress, whispering creepy things in my ear. I went through the motions. I smiled for the pictures. I kissed my husband. I danced, but I couldn't stop thinking about it. And then, that night, I found something that made my skin crawl. After the reception, Ryan and I checked into our hotel suite. He was exhausted and knocked out as soon as we got in. I, on the other hand, was still on edge. Something in my gut told me that I was missing something big. And then I saw it. Her red leather diary was sticking out of her purse, which she had left in my bridal suite earlier. I should have ignored it, but I couldn't. I grabbed it. My hands were shaking as I flipped through the pages. It was all about Ryan. Page after page of obsessive writing. She wrote about how they were soulmates, how I had stolen him from her, how he was meant to be hers. It got worse. She wrote about sabotaging our relationship. They won't last. I'll make sure of it. She wrote about our engagement. He should have proposed to me first. Then, I found an entry from 3 weeks ago. If I can't have him, no one can. I felt sick. But there was more. From a week before the wedding will be ruined. One way or another. I froze. My body went cold. This wasn't just jealousy. This was dangerous. She had planned something. And then I started thinking back. The mysterious dress stain that appeared when it was being kept at Ryan's parents' house. The cake order that got accidentally cancelled. The bridesmaids' dresses that went missing for 2 weeks. I had brushed it off as bad luck. It wasn't bad luck. It was her. I didn't sleep. I kept staring at Ryan, wondering if he knew how messed up his sister was. Morning came. I was still sitting there, clutching the diary, trying to figure out what the hell to do. And then, the pounding on the door started. Bam, bam, bam. Open the door. Ryan jolted awake. I walked over and pulled it open. Vanessa stood there, wild-eyed and furious. You read it, she whispered. I held the diary up. You left it in my room. Her face turned sheet white. Then, she lunged for it. Ryan, now fully awake, scrambled out of bed. What's going on? Vanessa whipped around to him. She's lying. She's trying to turn you against me. Ryan frowned. What is she talking about? I tossed the diary onto the bed. Read it. He hesitated. Then, he picked it up. And his face drained of color. I watched his expression shift. Confusion. Disbelief. Then, horror. Ryan looked up at Vanessa, his voice barely above a whisper. What the hell is this? And that's when I realized he had no idea. Vanessa's face twisted in pure rage. She looked at me, her eyes full of hate. You don't understand, she spat. Ryan cut her off. Understand what? That you think we were supposed to be together? That you've been trying to ruin my wedding? I watched as something shifted in Vanessa's expression. And then she said something that made my blood go cold. Mom and Dad knew. They told me you would change your mind. Ryan and I both froze. I turned to him. What is she talking about? He didn't answer. His face was pale. His hands were shaking. And then, slowly, he turned to me and said, My parents have been lying to me. And at that moment, I realized this was bigger than just Vanessa. His whole family was in on it. Ryan just stood there. His face had gone pale, his grip on the diary so tight his knuckles turned white. Vanessa wasn't lying. His parents knew. Ryan, I said slowly, my voice shaking, what does she mean by that? His jaw clenched. He stared at Vanessa. Mom and Dad told you I would what? Vanessa's eyes darted between us. She was breathing fast, her whole body shaking with rage. You don't get it, she snapped. I was always supposed to be the one by your side. You're supposed to protect me. But then she turned to me, her face twisting in hate. She ruined everything. Ryan exhaled sharply and ran a hand through his hair. He looked sick. What the hell are you talking about? He muttered. Vanessa let out a bitter laugh. I heard them, Ryan. Mom and Dad promised me that if I just waited, if I just held on, you'd realize it. Realize what? That I'm the only one who truly loves you. Silence. I stepped back, my stomach turning. Ryan's own parents had encouraged this? Ryan turned to me, his face full of something I couldn't read. I couldn't tell if it was horror, anger, or something worse. You knew about this? He asked me. I swallowed hard. I knew she was obsessed with you. I just didn't know they were involved. Ryan stumbled back onto the bed like someone had punched him. He ran a hand over his face, the diary still clutched in his lap. Then, his phone rang. It was his mom. He hesitated, then answered. Mom. I could hear her voice through the speaker. Ryan, sweetheart, whatever Vanessa is saying, she's confused. Just come home, and we'll fix this, Ryan stiffened. Fix what, exactly? His voice was eerily calm. A pause. Then, his mom sighed. Vanessa is fragile. You've always known that. She misunderstood things. Vanessa let out a laugh of pure disbelief. Are you serious right now? You're still trying to protect him from the truth. Ryan didn't say anything. Vanessa snapped. Tell him, Mom. Tell him how you always said I was the one who'd stay by his side. Tell him how you said no woman would ever love him the way I do. My skin crawled. Ryan's mother spoke again, her voice soft. Ryan, we just wanted what was best for you. And Vanessa loves you so much. Ryan hung up. He threw his phone onto the bed and put his head in his hands. Ryan, I said, stepping closer. Talk to me. He took a shaky breath. I always knew my parents were controlling, he said. They always treated Vanessa like she was fragile, but I thought, he exhaled sharply. I thought they were just being overprotective. Vanessa scoffed. Overprotective? They were preparing us. You were supposed to choose me. Ryan looked disgusted. You're my sister. Something dark flickered in Vanessa's eyes. She laughed, but it wasn't right. It was off. You don't get it, she whispered. You never did. Then she turned to me, her expression deadly calm. I had everything planned. The wedding was supposed to be ruined. The venue. The dress. The guests. I tried everything. She smiled, and my blood ran cold. But you wouldn't go away. I felt like I was going to be sick. Ryan's hands clenched into fists. You tried to sabotage our wedding? Vanessa shrugged. I had to. You weren't listening. Something in Ryan snapped. He stood up so fast the diary fell to the floor. Get out, he said, his voice low. Vanessa froze. Ryan, get out! She didn't move. So Ryan walked over, grabbed the diary, and threw it at her feet. Take it and leave, he said through clenched teeth. Vanessa's face twisted in something between heartbreak and fury. This isn't over, she whispered. And then, she picked up the diary, turned on her heel, and stormed out the door. Ryan let out a shaky breath. He sat down, rubbing his temples like he had a migraine. I sat next to him. Are you okay? I asked. He let out a bitter laugh. No. Then, after a long pause, I think I need to know what else they lied about. I squeezed his hand. Then let's find out. Ryan decided he wanted answers. So we went straight to his parents' house. They didn't expect us. His mom looked surprised when she opened the door. Ryan, sweetheart, Ryan pushed past her. We need to talk. His dad was sitting in the living room. He looked up from his newspaper and frowned. You should have called. Ryan didn't care. I need to know the truth, he said. His mom sighed. Ryan, we didn't lie to you. We knew Vanessa loved you. We thought, one day, maybe you'd love her too. Ryan's whole body stiffened. She's my sister. His mom didn't blink. Not by blood. Silence. The room tilted. I grabbed Ryan's arm. What? His mom sighed like this was exhausting for her. Vanessa isn't your biological sister. Ryan staggered back like he'd been punched. What the hell are you talking about? His dad finally spoke. We adopted her when she was a baby. You were 2 years old. We raised you together. Ryan's breathing was uneven. And you never told me? It didn't matter, his mom said. Family is family. My heart pounded in my chest. It mattered. It mattered a lot. Ryan shook his head. He looked broken. She thinks she's in love with me. His mom didn't even look surprised. She's always been sensitive. She clung to you because she trusted you. We thought it was sweet. 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 I was shaking with rage. I looked at Ryan, waiting for him to explode. Instead, he just said, "I need to go." He turned and walked out. I followed. We got into the car. He gripped the wheel so hard his knuckles turned white. Then he looked at me, his voice hollow. "I don't think we're safe." Ryan gripped the steering wheel, staring out at nothing. "I don't think we're safe," he repeated. I swallowed hard. "What do you mean?" He exhaled, shaking his head. "If my parents kept something that big from me, what else are they hiding?" And Vanessa, his voice caught. "She's not just obsessed. She's dangerous." I had no argument. The diary alone was enough proof. But now? Now it was bigger. She wasn't Ryan's biological sister. She had known this for years. His parents had hidden it from him, but she had always known. And instead of telling him, she had let it fester into this twisted, possessive fantasy. Ryan turned to me, his jaw tight. "I need to find out everything." We didn't go home. We drove straight to Ryan's childhood house. His parents were not happy to see us again. "You need to give this time, Ryan," his mom said, standing stiffly in the doorway. "No," Ryan snapped. "I need answers." His dad sighed and rubbed his temples. "You're overreacting, overreacting." Ryan's voice was shaking. "You hid my own damn family from me. You let Vanessa think," he broke off, taking a deep breath. "I need to see my adoption papers." His mom flinched. "Why?" "Because I don't trust a word you say anymore." She didn't move. Neither did his dad. So Ryan brushed past them and marched straight upstairs. I followed. I wasn't sure what we were looking for, but Ryan knew exactly where to go. His parents' bedroom. I hesitated. "Ryan, what if—" He ignored me, yanking open the closet door. He reached for the top shelf, where I noticed an old, wooden box covered in dust. He pulled it down and opened it. Inside were documents. Some were medical records. Some were legal papers. Some were old photographs. Ryan grabbed one of the files and flipped through it. And then he went still. I peered over his shoulder. It wasn't just adoption papers. There were letters. From Vanessa's birth mother. Ryan pulled out one of the letters, his breathing uneven. His eyes scanned the page, and then his hands shook. "What is it?" I whispered. He didn't answer right away. He just turned the page, reading faster. His face went white. Then, in a barely audible voice, he whispered, "She's my half-sister." The room spun. "What?" I said weakly. Ryan handed me the letter. His fingers were shaking so badly I had to grab it myself. I read it. And my heart stopped. Vanessa wasn't adopted. She was Ryan's father's illegitimate daughter. The letter was from Vanessa's birth mother. She had written to Ryan's parents, explaining the situation. She had been a young woman who had an affair with Ryan's dad. She couldn't raise the baby, so she agreed to let them take her in. But they never told Ryan. They never told anyone. They had raised Vanessa as his sister instead of what she really was, his half-sister, the product of their father's affair. My stomach twisted. Ryan's dad had looked him in the eye for years and lied. Ryan ran a shaking hand through his hair. He looked like he was going to be sick. Then we heard it. A car pulling into the driveway. Vanessa was here. I froze. Ryan tensed beside me. Then, footsteps. Slow, deliberate footsteps up the stairs. Then bam, bam, bam. A knock on the bedroom door. Neither of us moved. Then Vanessa's voice. "I know you're in there." My breath caught. Ryan shot me a warning look. "Stay quiet." But Vanessa wasn't stupid. "I saw your car," she said softly. Then, her voice turned cold. "You went through their things, didn't you?" I grabbed Ryan's arm. My heart pounded in my ears. She knew. She knew we had found the truth. And she wasn't leaving without a fight. Vanessa's voice was low and dangerous. "You went through their things, didn't you?" Ryan and I stood frozen in his parents' bedroom, the letter still clutched in my hands. My heart pounded so hard it hurt. We didn't answer. Bam, bam, bam. The knocking turned into pounding. "Open the door." Ryan's face was pale, his fists clenched. I saw the moment his restraint snapped. He stormed to the door and yanked it open. Vanessa stood there, eyes burning, face flushed with rage. "You weren't supposed to find that," she whispered. Ryan held up the letter. "You knew." She flinched. Then, her expression shifted, like a mask slipping into place. "Of course I knew," she said softly. "I always knew." Ryan let out a sharp, bitter laugh. "So you just let me believe we were siblings while you—" He stopped himself, shaking his head in disgust. "All this time, Vanessa?" All the shit you pulled, I had no choice, she hissed. They told me you wouldn't understand. That you'd reject me. Ryan staggered back like she had hit him. Reject you? You're my half-sister. Something dark flickered in her eyes. And that never meant anything to me. I felt sick. Vanessa, I said, my voice barely above a whisper. You really thought? She turned to me so fast I stepped back. You're the problem, she snapped. I waited. I was patient. But you showed up and ruined everything. I clenched my jaw. You tried to sabotage our wedding. She didn't deny it. You knew, didn't you? She said. That's why you went through their stuff. You were looking for something to turn him against me. I swallowed the rage rising in my throat. I wasn't looking for anything. But you left your diary in my room, Vanessa. I didn't have to look for the truth. It was all right there, written in your own words. Vanessa's face twisted. For a second, she looked panicked. Then, she lunged for the letter in Ryan's hand. He stepped back. Not happening. Give it to me, she shrieked. Ryan didn't move. You're sick, Vanessa. You need help. She laughed, a high, almost hysterical sound. Help? Help. You think I'm the one who needs help? Then, she turned and stormed past us, running down the stairs. Ryan and I shared a look, then ran after her. Vanessa burst into the dining room, where his parents were still sitting. She slammed her hands onto the table, knocking over a glass of wine. They know, she snarled. His parents looked up, startled. Ryan threw the letter onto the table. How long were you planning on keeping this from me? His mother let out a tired sigh. Ryan, please. We can discuss this later, Eno, he snapped. We discuss it now. His dad frowned. Son, we didn't tell you because it didn't matter. Vanessa was still your sister, Ryan laughed, a cold, humorless sound. She isn't my sister. He turned to his mother. And you let her believe we were meant to be together? His mother winced. She was young when she found out. She misinterpreted things. Misinterpreted? I couldn't stop myself. You mean you let her live in a fantasy? You knew she was obsessed with Ryan, and you let it happen. His mother didn't respond. Ryan turned to his dad, his voice lower now. Did you ever love her? His father flinched. Ryan, answer me. His dad looked away. Ryan staggered back, his face twisted in something between fury and heartbreak. You let her think I was hers, he whispered. And you let me think she was my sister. But the truth is, she's just the daughter of your affair. Vanessa let out a broken laugh. And still, I love you more than anyone ever will. I shuddered. Ryan stared at her like he didn't recognize her anymore. I don't want you in my life, he said. Her breath hitched. Ryan, he turned to his parents. And I don't want you in my life either. His mother gasped. Ryan, don't say that, you lied to me my whole damn life, he spat. And for what? To protect her feelings? To let her believe in some twisted delusion. His dad sighed. You're overreacting. That did it. Ryan let out a bitter laugh, shaking his head. No, I'm not. I'm just done. Then he grabbed my hand. We're leaving. Vanessa let out a small, strangled sound. You can't just leave me. Ryan didn't even look at her. We walked out the door. We went no contact. Ryan blocked them. His parents, Vanessa, all of them. He changed his number. For weeks, Vanessa tried to reach out. Calls, texts, emails. She even showed up at his work. Security had to escort her out. Then, she started calling me. The messages started as pleading. Tell Ryan to call me. I miss him. I didn't mean to scare you. Then, anger. You're the reason he left. You ruined us. Then, silence. Months passed. I should have felt safe. But then, one day, Ryan came home, his face ashen. He held up his phone. Vanessa had posted a public letter on Facebook. In it, she blamed me for everything. She called me a manipulative liar, accused me of turning Ryan against his real family. She spun the entire story to make herself the victim. She even wrote, Ryan, if you see this, I forgive you. I'll wait for you. No matter how long it takes. Ryan stared at the screen for a long time. Then, he deleted his Facebook. He turned to me and pulled me into his arms. I love you, he whispered. And I'm so sorry you got dragged into this. I held on to him. We'll be okay. And we were. But Vanessa? She was still waiting. And I knew, deep in my gut, this wasn't over.